Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back for today's message. It feels like forever. And the reason is because I've been on a bit of a journey, guys. Like a bit of an intense journey, a bit of a very emotional journey, and it's really sparked the reason why I have decided to deliver this particular message for you guys today. So as you are tuning in, I really want to hear from you. So please do drop me a comment. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, whether you're joining me live or you're listening to the recording. I want to hear from you. And as usual, I want to co-create this space with you guys. So this message today has come off the back end of really a couple of pretty intense weeks of feeling a really deep sense of disconnection from myself and feeling like I'm kind of going backwards. And it's felt really disheartening. It's felt really, I felt pretty helpless, like quite a bit of the time as well. I felt pretty isolated. I felt pretty alone. Like I felt pretty, all the stuff we don't really want to feel, you know, and basically I want to come to some of the conclusions that I have that I feel could serve and empower you guys on this journey. So today's message is one for all of us who have a tendency to want to just like stuff those emotions down, right? Like, well, I don't need to deal with that. That's going to get in my way. And, you know, and have a sense of, you know, prioritizing progress in our lives and moving forward and accomplishing and achieving our goals or distracting, you know, in any way, shape or form so that we don't actually have to deal with our true emotional state. So basically this is a message for all of us. And I think that what I just spoke into then is really just a part of the human experience, right? Is this avoidance or this tendency to push down and stuff down our true emotional experience. And I want today's message to be one that really inspires you and awakens you to how your power, your truth, your authenticity, your strength, your ability to really love and be loved and contribute and add value to the world and know your sense of worth and power basically stems from you being able to fully feel what is actually going on for you and be present to the moment. All stuff we've heard time and time again, but I hope that how I'm gonna share it with you guys today actually really does get you going. All right, so like I said, please do jump on board and let me know that you're tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. I want to know about it. And as we go ahead with this one, please do share this message with anybody you think could benefit from feeling a bit more of their truth, their emotions. So today's topic is until you feel it, you'll never deal with it. Okay, and so this is a big one for those of us who have come into personal development through a lot of the development that we need to have. Like part of the stepping stone is to be able to be in total control of our emotions, to know that we can choose our emotional state, right? That's part of the journey, but we absolutely need to transcend it, and we almost feel like we have to go against it in order to get to the next level of freedom and empowerment and fulfillment in our lives. And basically that is to go, instead of, you know, moving through that developmental stage of going, I feel crap, I feel depressed, I feel sad. I don't want to feel those ways. I want to feel happy and fulfilled and enthusiastic. So I'm going to look to change my emotional state, right? I'm going to change my thinking. I'm going to change my actions. I'm going to visualize. I'm going to have affirmations. I'm going to do all this stuff, right? And all of that stuff is absolutely valuable, but we must not reside there for life, right? Because that is just one part of the journey towards your freedom and fulfillment as an individual. And once we get to this tired out place, right? And we all do. And I speak to so many people who are stuck in that place of like, why is it that life just feels empty, even though like I'm in control of my emotional state, and I'm never sad or depressed, and I'm always moving forward or whatever. And the truth is because they're stuck in that level of development, and they're actually negating their true emotional experience. And what I want to really instill with you guys today is something that you might want to, like, I put it in the title for today's message because you might want to read over it a couple of times. But basically what we're going to be talking about is how our resistance to our own emotional experience, right? Whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on for you emotionally in this present moment, our resistance to that is really a reflection of our attachment to an egoic-persona, I know this sounds all technical, that we use to strategically mask a deep-seated belief that we are unworthy. All right, now I'm going to unpack that whole thing, right? Because it was a lot. But basically what I want us to think about, let's start at the top. What's your relationship to your own emotional experience? If you are going through your life today and something comes up and you feel a sense of sadness well up, or you feel a sense of hurt or pain or depression or fear or anxiety or whatever it is, right? Any of these so-called negative emotions, right? That we want to avoid. What happens? Like, what's your relationship to that? Do you go, oh, no, can't feel that, like just distract or just do more or just, go over here and do this thing and just avoid the truth of that emotion coming up? Or maybe you're somebody who goes, you know what? Oh, I feel this twang of emotion coming up and I'm not currently in the right environment to really like feel through and move through. I'm at my workplace right now. Like I can't just burst into tears right now, like I'm on the phone to a client or something like this, right? And do you consciously put aside or set aside time later on where you've created an environment for yourself to feel through that emotion? And so you kind of put a pause and go, okay, I know there's something going on in here. I'm going to deal with this in some time I'm going to create for myself a little later on when I can have that time. Or are you somebody who just flies off the handle completely with every emotion that comes up and is at play, right? So there's, as a general rule, there's three ways that people we're moving through life and we're dealing with our emotions. Now, I don't know where you sit. I'd love to hear from you. So definitely drop me a comment and let me know where you kind of sit in those three potential kind of general ways of dealing with our emotions. I know for me personally, my strategy has been to avoid at all costs, right? Like just, and just kind of distract and just get into the doing rather than the being, right? And basically, I want us to, wherever we land on that sphere, is to ask ourselves, well, what drives that? And, I've had to do some deep dives into this many, many times throughout my conscious growth journey, right? We're always growing and developing, but like consciously doing it, I've had to ask myself, well, what is my resistance? What drives my resistance to feeling my emotions? And basically, my own personal journey has been basically coming down to number one, not wanting to burden others with whatever emotions I'm experiencing, because I guess my experience as a child or growing up was more like there wasn't really room for my emotions, right? Like I didn't want to. My interpretation without emotional intelligence was I'm going to burden people with my emotions, right? Like I'm going to worry people. I'm going to create more pain and chaos and turmoil if I express my emotional experience. And there are also times, like I think we can all relate to, where we have expressed our emotions and we weren't held, right? Maybe we were sent to our room, like maybe we were punished for having some sort of emotional experience, right? There's lots that could have gone on your own personal journey, but the truth is Like, we've all had, you know, some sort of negative experience with the expression of emotion that we've kept going. It's basically kept us in this way of either avoiding our emotions, or maybe if you're somebody who fully goes into it and overwhelms, is overwhelmed by your emotion and you're fully expressing of it, maybe you actually had an experience where you got love, you got a pat on the back, you got a hug, if you expressed some sort of negative emotion, right? People wanted to look after you, right? So there's always a payoff. And for me, what it had been is if I don't connect into that emotion, I can not burden anybody with my emotions, and instead I can be who they want me to be so that I can get love, acceptance, and approval, right? I can go to sleep to my internal world so that I can get what I want and in my external world, right? And so the reason why I want to explain it in the way of our resistance to experiencing our emotions in relation or a reflection of our persona that we use, like our egoic persona that we utilize as a strategy to get love, acceptance, and approval in our external world, and really see that that is because we deem ourselves unworthy of love as we are. And oftentimes that's just simply because we don't know who we are, right? We're so externally connected that we just want to belong, right? And we go to sleep to our emotions so that we can stay in attunement to other people's emotions or what other people want from us. And we live this life of molding ourselves to those external sources and going to sleep to that internal world, almost numbing out to the truth of our emotional experience. And basically what happens is we reinforce that sense that we're not worthy and lovable as we are. We need to be a certain way, do certain things, get it from some external source who can approve it for us, right? And give us permission to be a certain way, rather than giving ourselves permission to be just who we are, right? And basically it's all pointing to a sense of feeling unworthy within ourselves. So what I want to ask you is because for me, right, like the drive or the payoff of minimizing my emotional experience, disconnecting, numbing myself from it, was so that basically I could keep my egoic persona going on, because my egoic persona was how I got that love, acceptance, and approval. And basically this is, part of our human journey. So we all have some sort of form of this, right? And so to actually acknowledge and own my true emotional experience would be to negate my egoic persona, because my egoic persona was reliant on my ability to make other people happy, to be of value to other people rather than a burden, and to basically contribute, right? And to achieve, right? Rather than, what happens when you actually have to, or when you actually take the time to feel and experience and move with your true emotional states, you'll notice that it gets in the way of accomplishing tasks that your past self has set for yourself, right? It gets in the way of meeting other people's needs in the moments that conflict with how you feel, right? There's a lot of so-called limitation when we look through the eyes and the mask of the egoic persona, and who's attempting to get what we need and feels we are reliant on external sources in order to feel just a sense of belonging and love and acceptance and approval, because we have disowned ourselves. And I've come to believe that our connection to our emotional states is a direct connection to our truth as an individual. And so if we negate our emotional experience that exists in the present moment, we stay trapped back and forth, going from a past judging of our past self, deeming it unworthy and judging it with the new information that we have now based on its previous decisions and choices in life. and correlating all the different experiences we've had with other people and their judgments on us, and then flicking from the past judgment all the way into a future projection of expectation as to who we need to get ourselves to be in order to finally be worthy, to finally get that love, acceptance, approval that we seek so desperately from those external sources. And we miss the present moment. We completely bypass the present moment, which is where our truth exists throughout our emotional states that are present in the moment. Now, I'm not saying that it's that we should just get caught up totally in our emotional experience and we should just be, going on the roller coaster of emotion in every present moment. Like I said, there is a developmental curve, and in order to be safe in really accessing the truth and not being totally taken over by emotional experiences, we actually have to go on the journey, which sounds so paradoxical to what I'm saying, but basically what we have to do is get in control of our emotional state so that we can see and experience that we don't have to just succumb to any old emotion and let it take over our lives. We can consciously choose to feel and experience and move through and not avoid and not diminish, but actually get to a place where we can be in attunement to those inner messages, which are basically what our emotions are, right? And instead of being in fear of them, like they're going to throw us off our path and rip our egoic mask off, and then we're just going to be left in a state of everybody seeing how unworthy we are, and we're never going to get the love and the acceptance and the approval that we seek. Instead, we actually have to take a bit of a step of faith here and be able to go into the darker place that we deem as scary, but it's only scary because it's unknown. And the moment we shine light on what's going on inside is the moment we actually access a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of truth, more clarity, less attachment to our external sources and them having to give to us and fulfill a void that only we can truly give for ourselves. And we can start the process of removing the egoic mask, right? The persona that you have created in order to get something from an external source that only you can now generate from within. And we basically get to start to live with freedom and access true fulfillment. We actually get to be in relationship not only with ourselves but everybody around us, right? Because when you are not living as yourself, right? When you have you're staying stuck and identified with an egoic persona in order that you're using as a strategy to get that love, acceptance, and approval from external sources at the sacrifice of being in connection to your truth through your emotions, then basically you haven't even begun to live your life, right? Your life begins in the moment that you remove the persona. You can discern between your truth and the persona that you've used as a helpful strategy that has saved you, that has kept you comfortable and safe throughout your past history. But now it's enough, right? If you're an adult, right, you're on the growth journey. It's your responsibility to stop being so reliant and needy and attached to other people, giving you what you need to be giving yourself. And you need to go on the journey to discern between the two, have the courage to go into those dark, unknown places that reside within your emotions, make the realization and awaken to the fact that your emotions are here to reconnect you to your truth, to access true freedom, fulfillment, and empowerment. They are not here to ruin your life. It only feels like that when you are identified with a way of being in the world to get that void fulfilled from external sources who are other imperfect individuals on probably the exact same journey who have no fuel to give you, right? They're in burnout themselves. And that's what ends us up in this desperation of attachment and molding ourselves and thinking we're in love, but really we're in infatuation and just attaching to these people who we think they're the one, right? They're the one who can fulfill me. They can make me happy. My life is solved, right? Every issue will disappear. No, this is why our relationships go from infatuation and then they just go to their demise, is because they're between people, and not just intimate partnership. This is every relationship you have in your life, because they're between people who are trying to get something that they should be giving to themselves from one another, and therefore they're not really in relationship with the other person. They're not really loving or caring or wanting the absolute best, whatever that is, whatever's healthiest for the individual, the other person, right? Because they need that person to stay in their egoic mask that thinks and misrepresents and mistakes that they need something from the other person, right? Neediness is not love. Neediness is a reflection that you're stuck in an egoic persona, trying to mask your unworthiness or your belief in your unworthiness. And instead, we must wake up and realize every single one of us is inherently worthy just for being alive and breathing, right? You know, you're unique, you're here. It sounds corny, but like, you know, we need this message. Like, we need to have that message drummed into us to remind us to not succumb to the humanness of a persona that masks that sense of unworthiness and wants to stay disconnected from emotions and truth in order to show up and get what we think we need from the external world. And instead, we're going to throw that out the window. We're going to take 100% responsibility. We're going to tap into courage and boldness. We're going to go into the dark places of our emotions, and we're going to feel it. And from that place is where we begin to be who we are, right? That is when we start to live our lives, and then sharing who we are with the world and using that as our filter, when we are no longer reliant on anybody to give to us what we now do give to ourselves. All right, there is no greater sense of freedom and fulfillment than knowing who you are, aligning with who you are, and being all of who you are into the external world without attachment to anybody else being any different to who they are in order for you to feel okay. All right? That's my rant for today. You guys know I like a rant. So I really hope that today's message has been of value to you guys. I want to hear from you. I can't wait to jump in the comments and see who's been able to join me today. And please do share this. Like I always say, if you do find it of value and you know anybody in your life who is maybe a little avoidant of emotion. Who isn't, right? Which one of us isn't, right? We all want to just be positive, positive, positive and feel all the love and joy and happiness and all the elation all the time, but you're stunting your ability to truly access and be in balance and really experience the whole spectrum of life when you do not allow for the so-called negative emotions to alert you to your truth, right? There is no better feeling than being in connection to yourself. And on the flip side of that, there's no worse feeling than being totally out of connection with yourself, which is a place I've been many times in my life. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this message, a place I've been very recently, to a large degree, which has felt terrible, right? But, you know, I had a very emotional day yesterday, which actually just reconnected me to myself. Right? My eyes don't even feel like they're opening, right? That's how much emotion that I went through yesterday. So anyway, I hope this message has sparked it for you, and I'm going to dive into the comments with you guys now. And I've got Mike in the house, and Sophie, and Samuel, and Jocelyn, and Janice, and Alan, and I love it, Jed. Thanks, Jed. And the persona will change. Only gratitude survives till the end. Absolutely, Jed. Yeah, totally. You know, like if you look at throughout your life, think about the multitude of lifetimes you've experienced. That's the way I look at it. I can look back through my life, and I've just turned 34, and I feel like I've had several lifetimes. Like I feel like I've, like honestly, at least 5 lifetimes I've lived so far. And really, if we relate it to, you know, what Jed has just mentioned, that the persona will change, right? And the conversation we're having here today, it's basically because all those strategies of my personas, right, haven't worked. right? So that's why we have these different lifetimes, right? We live with different people in our lives. We're this totally different person. Like, we're always growing and evolving. And I like to think that we never quite ever make it, but that's constantly what it really is not changing who you are. It's awakening to who you've always been, right? Like, it's the change is the dropping of the personas that the strategy just doesn't work. And eventually you get enough of those experiences that you go, you know what? Every persona that I try and mask my sense of unworthiness with never works. It never gets me where I want to get to. And I'm sick and tired of repeating the same old pattern, you know, of elation and depletion and the roller coaster. And you eventually you get to a place where you're like, F this. I am taking 100% responsibility now. I know nobody is out there to save me. Nobody else is here to fulfill any void that I do not fulfill for myself, right? And you get to this different perspective on every relationship. If you want to be of service, you want to be able to enhance other people's lives, you want to allow them to enhance your life, and the only way we get to that is by bringing and contributing who we truly are to those other relationships, and also being able to lovingly call out when others around us that we really desire to have exceptional quality of relationship with, call them out when you feel like something isn't right? Like it's not adding up. You know, like feel into the energy, like allow your truth and your emotional experience in relationship to other people to come forth as well, right? And that's one of the muscles I've been building more recently in my life particularly over the last year or so. But, you know, this ability to trust in my own intuition and how in relationship with others, I can feel a sense of disconnection and something being off, and having the courage to voice that. And the experience has been that it's actually woken other people up, you know, to where they are offline a little bit. And instead of forcing people to play out a persona so that they can get your love and acceptance and approval, wouldn't the greatest gift that you can give to others be a demand that they show up as who they truly are? Right? You can't love a facade of who someone is, and call forth the truth of who they are. Let them know that nothing can ever be wrong so long as they are being authentic. I didn't know. It must be because I haven't been doing too many of these lives, but that was my second rant for today. I love it, Jed. Thank you so much. And thank you, Vanessa. Your effort is wonderful. Jed, I really, really appreciate your kind words, my friend. And you are so appreciated for showing back up and joining me in these lives like so many of you do. It always touches my heart because I gather you're getting value, and that's why I'm showing up here. So thank you, Jed. You are so appreciated. And Samuel, another exceptional soul I love having come back time and time again. Samuel says, I'm in a place of solitude now. I don't trust my judgment. Oh, deeply resonating with you right now. I was a people pleaser. I've grown to some degree. Your content has helped, but I'm still not there. I still fail. I still, to some degree, look to others for self-worth. Being honest, I have a lot to learn. Love your content. Thank you so much, Samuel, for your openness, for your honesty, for sharing your experience and your journey here with courage, right? And also for those kind, beautiful words. That means the world to me. And so this is what I want to say to you as well, Samuel. Like, this has been part of what's been tearing me up big time over the last couple of weeks. A long time, but like heightened to this sense where I can't keep it contained anymore, right? And I've really had to deal with it. And part of it has been really having that same journey as you, being the people pleaser, looking to the external world. Who do I need to be in order to be loved, right? That was my primary question guiding my life for so many years, right? And it still comes up, right? Don't feel depleted and defeated if you're on a growth journey and you recycle these same themes, right? You're spiraling up always, okay? Believe in that. And I had to remind myself of that. And I didn't do a great job of it over the last couple of weeks because I started to really doubt my own personal decisions based on past experiences. And basically what I realized was because of all the grouping and the stacking of past experiences or past decisions, particularly for me personally, it had been around with my choices of intimate partnership, basically, right? And looking back and feeling like I was saw all the best, and I was so sold, right, in the relationship. And then it wasn't until I had to hit this kind of sense of disillusionment, right, and balancing out, that I started to deeply question my ability to even trust my own judgment, right? And basically what happens is we've gathered so many experiences that now we've created a deep-seated belief. See, another reason why you can't trust yourself, another reason why you're a poor decision maker, right? Whatever it is around, right? And basically what we need to do is recognize that our experiences have become a deep-seated belief that can be shifted and changed. How? Through new experiences. And this is where it gets tough. This is where we start avoiding, because we still are the person who has the deep-seated belief that we can't trust in our decisions, right? And so we're asking ourselves to take another decision, to create another experience. And we don't believe that we can make good decisions. So we have to actually just go, I let go and I have faith and I'm going to do it again. I trust I'll always figure it out. I trust I'll always figure it out. Basically, that's all we can do. And the moment that we step forward with the courage and the faith to just back ourselves again, let's prove to ourselves, let's just gather it up. And I do definitely advise to start small, right? Make some really healthy, small, good decisions that you can start to stack and build the momentum to replacing that belief that you can't make great decisions and you can't trust yourself to I can, I do, I've got the experiences to prove it. And you might even just be able to reflect on your life right now, right? Because right now we're stuck. Whenever we've got a challenge or we're stuck in our lives, it's because we're one-sided about the challenge, right? We're stuck with our blinders on. We're focused on finding and proving ourselves right, even if it's a negative, disempowering thing. So the challenge is to create new experiences that prove the belief wrong that we want to shift. And I would say coupling it with reflecting through your life and challenging your brain to find where you have made good decisions. All right, there's plenty of them there. And so we have to recognize that we're trying to stay in a state of survival, right? That's what our homeostasis is. It locks into beliefs and it's just trying to keep it safe. But if we realize that it's creating a stuckness, if it's limiting us, if it's not allowing for us to create a life of true freedom and fulfillment, we have to work with it, right? And we have to go, this is the strategy. It's not working. This is what I need to do instead. I need to experience with courage a new way of looking at the world, and a new way of, a new belief needs to be instilled, and I have to have the courage to go on the journey of experiencing that and creating that for myself, and also being able to see the other side and balance out my own perceptions by reflecting through my timeline of my life and seeing how the opposite to whatever that limiting belief is actually true. All right. Is that my third rant for today? But yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Samuel. I appreciate you. And Tan is here as well. And Data, this is some major gold here. Loving that you're here and loving that you're finding gold here. Always love seeing you here. And Linda, great to hear this. Are you saying we learn from pushing ourselves, being a bit nervous, scared to find ourselves? Absolutely. And this is the terrifying thing. And another, without going on another rant with you guys right now, another part of my journey over these last couple of weeks, which has gone deep, right, and very emotionally taxing, has been really desiring to have, somebody to share that with, some support, right? Somebody who can really not take it personally and who can be there for me, right? Honestly, I've had a real struggle with that in the last couple of weeks, and it's been another lesson, right? Which is basically just reinforcing that I need to build that muscle to rely on myself, right? But it's also the reason why I became a coach, right? Because I wanted to fulfill on something that was missing in my own life, right? I wanted to, basically help fast track or give my past self what I would have really needed, and that is, a support, right? A place, a safe zone to express and be supported by somebody who is not going to be emotionally triggered and worried and concerned or take it personally or need you to be any other way than you are, and actually with calmness and peace, like help guide you with certainty, right? To shine light on the aspects that you might be blind to, right? And so, yeah, totally. We do have to push ourselves off the edge just a little bit to go into that discomfort, right? And to have that faith. And if you're lucky enough to know people in your life who can support you on that, I would encourage you to have that, albeit being consistently and simultaneously really conscious about whether or not you're being reliant and needy at the sacrifice of the muscle that you need to build, right? Like sometimes you're the one who needs to push yourself off that cliff a little bit, right? And be able to pull yourself back up, right? Instead of getting the boost, right? And we just need to stay in connection and build that muscle to connect deeper to ourselves and be able to discern which direction we're taking and what's healthiest for us. And sometimes it's the most uncomfortable thing, right? That is the one that we will most benefit from, and we need to not continue to reach out to, to those lifelines that are costing us actually our life, right? So think about it that way as well. But yes, and I love having you here, Linda. Hope this has been a valuable message for you. And Daryl, thank you so much for sending me some stars today. I so appreciate when you guys send me some stars, and you'll let Facebook know that you value these messages so I can get out to more of you guys. So appreciate your support, my friend, all the way from beautiful Canada, a place I cannot wait to get back to eventually when crazy Australia lets us out of the country again. Who knows, in another year or more. So awesome. And Samuel, I've been listening to Joe Dispenza. Boom. I love it. On creating a new personality from the old personality. I think I've been locked in an old trauma. Love your content. You're ace. Keep going. Bless soul. Thank you so much, Samuel. And I love that you are getting into the incredible Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. I've had some of my most profound realizations going through his meditations. In particular, breaking the habit of being yourself, which I think is the one that you might be going through right now. So I love that. Super empowering. You're on the journey, my friend. Keep backing yourself. Keep having that compassion and celebrate that you are somebody who chooses to grow and take responsibility for your life, right? And get to know yourself and be yourself, right? So I love it. And I love having you part of the community. And Melkor is here as well. Good morning to you from Manila, the Philippines. Always love knowing where you guys are from. Hope this message has been of value to you guys. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who's been able to join me live today. You are so appreciated. I love co-creating this space with you. I love that you share your true, authentic experiences here. I love your questions. I love your words of wisdom. I really love connecting with you guys. And thanks for bearing with me on this crazy journey of growth and life. And, a big part of it for me is to know always that whatever I do, whatever I put out into the world, I need to know that it's really aligned to me, right? It's not something that is molding to something else I think I need to be, right? And, sometimes I can fall into that trap, particularly when I'm other people want to help me move my mission forward and things like that. It's a muscle I'm still building to stay deeply into connection with myself and the mission that I'm on and how I want to serve and contribute to you guys, and making sure that that's always from the inside out and not from the outside in. So, Anyway, just sharing that with you guys. I hope it resonates, hope it served you, hope it's helped you. And as usual, my reminder to each and every one of you guys is to go out there and honor your authenticity. You know, go and get to know who you are, align with it, and get it out into the world, right? From the inside out. Deepen your intimate connections, right? Share who you actually are, not the egoic-persona. Demand those that you love and you care about and that you value exceptional quality of relationship with, demand that they show up and be themselves too, reminding them nothing is ever wrong so long as you are being authentic, right? And really build that intuition around bullshit, right? Like when people aren't being real, when you're not being real, like you want to have that antenna so sensitive, right? So that you can ensure that you and the people that you love and care about have the best opportunity to experience true love, freedom, and fulfillment in their lives, all right? And finally, contribute your gifts, your unique gifts, meaningfully and purposefully. You have something to give that is different to every other human being walking the face of the planet. There is no comparison, all right? And when we just connect to who we are, we realize that. We realize the gift, and there is no longer any competition out there, right? There is only collaboration, appreciation, and celebration of everybody's unique gifts, right? So the greatest gift that we can give to ourselves and the possible evolution of humanity and the awakening to its beauty is to be all of who we are, give ourselves that permission, and let that role model for others what it is to show up, be real, be raw, be free, right? And that is in turn the greatest possible inspiration we could offer other people around us, all right? To show up, to show them, whoa, all right, that's what life could be, right? And it's not a demand that they change. We're living our own life and our own selves and role modeling that, all right? So I know you guys, we all have a sense of desiring to be of value and contribute in meaningful ways and have an impact, and that's your best strategy, all right? So focus on really awakening to who you truly are and aligning with that, and can't wait to see more of you guys moving forward, all right? That's it from me. I will thank you again and sending you all of my love, and I'll see you very, very soon.